Hi, welcome to Beyond the Surface with Caleb. In today's video, I want to talk about how we can use mindfulness, meditation to deal with disagreements with other people. Before we get into that, let's do a body scan to relax our nervous system. Okay. So just focus on your toes, crunching your toes, the tension in your toes. This will only be about a minute or so of this body scan, and then we'll get right into the video. There will also be timestamps down below as well if you want to skip ahead. So focus in on the tension of your toes. You can crunch them, release them, feel any tension in your body. Move around if that feels comfortable. I want to turn the light on this video down a little bit. I have this ring light in front of me. It's kind of bright. All right. And we're just getting comfortable in our seat, doing what we need to do before we get into this topic. All right, let's begin. So let's say that you have a disagreement with somebody and you're not in physical danger, but you're having a disagreement. Maybe you feel strongly about something, whether it's politics, religion, sports, any of those commonly emotionally charged discussions. So let's say that maybe you're not in that situation right now, but you clicked on this video because you are trying to figure out how to interact with this person about something that's emotionally charged. Or maybe you and this person have this disagreement every time you see each other. This video can help. So just to start off with talking a little bit of the structure of this particular video, I'm gonna go at it in different layers of the human experience. So there'll be a cognitive layer, an emotional layer, and a somatic layer. So on the cognitive layer, you feel strongly about something and you feel that you are right and you feel the other person is wrong. And you feel that if you can only find a way to convince them, then they'll see what you see. So you think of ways to word a particular argument, analogies to use, examples to use, because you want to either be right or to teach them something. In your body, on the emotional level, you probably feel fear, that feeling of your heart racing, that feeling of stress. You may be shaking a little bit. You may feel angry. You may feel your body becoming very tense and very warm and flush in the face when you think about this interaction that you're about to have or you've already had. And all these signals of your thoughts and the sensations in your body can be used as a mindfulness exercise. Because if you don't allow what's going on within your body and with your mind to release itself, it's going to build up more and more and more. You're going to start thinking about the scenario more and more. You're going to start feeling your emotions more and more intensely. And you're going to continue to have that cycle of stress. And this isn't a judgment on you. This is a human condition. We all struggle with it from time to time, even myself. So I'm not looking down on you. I'm right there with you at times. So I feel like it's important to say that and to acknowledge that. This is an exercise that I do myself when I get frustrated with somebody. If this advice is for if it's just a disagreement, like a verbal disagreement, if it's a physical disagreement where there's physical violence involved, this video and the advice in this video may not be the best advice, and you may need to seek support elsewhere. But if you're dealing with the common disagreements that we all have with other people from time to time, when our beliefs or worldview becomes challenged, then this video can be beneficial. So this is a little exercise that I do. Let's say that I'm having a disagreement with somebody. For example, I had a boss, and as a real life example, I'm going to keep it vague and also use it as a story, a true story, to show you in real time how I worked through it. So I had a boss, and it was in a kitchen environment. And the boss seemed to be having, my kitchen manager at the time seemed to be having a tough day. And they were really stressed. And they were quick-tempered and yelling. And I noticed that. They corrected a mistake that I made. And for me, it wasn't that they corrected the mistake. It was how they corrected it. It triggered something within me. So I started to feel my thoughts. I started to observe my thoughts, and my thoughts were going through my head as, this person shouldn't talk to me like that. I understand they're having a rough day, but why are they taking it out on me? What did I do to deserve this? I don't need this. I can find a different job. This is ridiculous. I don't care if they're my boss. And my thoughts just kept on going on and on with this internal dialogue of the situation on how this person was wrong and I was right. Emotionally, I felt fearful. I felt a part of my identity of being a calm, compassionate, understanding, mature adult was being questioned. Because how I was feeling in my body and the thoughts I was having didn't correlate with the identity that I had in myself. Because I had the identity at that moment of, if I was really as mature and compassionate and calm as I believed myself to be, then I shouldn't be reacting like this. So I felt the fear, I felt anger, I felt sadness. I felt confused, perplexed. I felt stressed. And I was observing all this stuff going on while I was working in the fryer baskets for the fries, or working on a taco, putting the toppings on, the lettuce, the tomatoes, the onions, looking at the board to see what the next order is. I was observing these thoughts and these feelings going through me. And I kind of kept to myself and just continued doing what I was doing. And after some time, about maybe 15, 20 minutes, I started to question the whole thing. Why am I letting this get to me? Maybe I'm not accepting my anger. Maybe I'm not allowing myself to feel anger in my body. Maybe I'm not allowing myself to feel sadness and fear and all these emotions. Maybe I have to give up my identity in that moment. Because ultimately, I'm playing the role of employee who's a line cook. And my kitchen manager is playing the role of kitchen manager. And we have different responsibilities and different stressors. And we have different upbringings and different personal experiences that are influencing this interaction. So I started questioning all this stuff and reflecting on it. And I started to allow the anger to be there, the sadness to be there, the fear, the confusion. I started to allow my identity to be questioned. And this was all a mindfulness internal experience that I was having. And the thing that helped me is the boundary that I put on myself was, I'll allow myself to feel all this in my body, all these different intense emotions. And I'll be respectful and responsible and mature as much as I can be in how I express them. Which, after I started doing this process, I felt more and more grounded and comfortable and safe and free, because I was allowing those emotions to be there. And I started allowing my thoughts to go wherever they wanted to. I mean, wherever they wanted to. And I gave myself the boundary of I'll have whatever thoughts and whatever emotions that I observe. I'll allow them to be there. I'll allow them to come through, but I'll be responsible and mature as I can be on how I express those if I decide to. Because ultimately, after a while, I knew it had nothing to do with the kitchen manager who made the remark or the critique. Because that was already 20 minutes ago, 30 minutes ago, 45 minutes ago. After they said it, I started this whole process of trying to defend myself, seeing myself defend myself. It started to become my problem because I was the one that was still reacting to it. Even though I wasn't saying anything, I was reacting to it in my own body, in my own mind. So it was my problem to work through, to integrate, to learn from, and to accept. It was no longer their problem. And in the deepest sense, it was never their problem. Because they said some words to me. They use a certain tone, a certain emotion. I've worked in different kitchens. It's common to be in that stressful situation. So I've heard that similar emotion and tone and word choice before. So it's not personal. It feels personal, but it's not personal. It's personal and impersonal at the same time. For me, it's personal. For the situation at hand and the requirements of the roles that are being played and the environment that it's being played in, it's impersonal. It's just another Tuesday or whichever day. So when I started to understand that and started to remember that, it made it easier. The difference between spiritual bypassing or intellectualization and what I'm describing is that I used the experience while I was in it to accept and be aware of how I felt and how I thought. And I allowed it to be there. And I learned from it. And I felt it and it was very uncomfortable. But I still allowed it to be there. And I grew from it. Now, because it's very important, I feel, to say this. If I was to go into the situation and there was spiritual bypassing, I might say something like, oh, well, we're all one and all this stuff is just coming up in my awareness. And so I don't mess with it at all. I just let it be there because it's not me. It's not me at all. It's just something that's in the awareness that I'm aware of. But it's not me at all. And I have nothing to learn from it. I have nothing to grow from it. It's just there. And if I meditate and do spiritual practices enough, it'll go away. That's spiritual bypassing. Intellectualization, if I was going through this situation and I was intellectualizing to an unhealthy degree, I would dismiss all the emotional part of the experience and I would intellectualize it. I would say to myself, oh, yeah, there was this I had this emotion, but emotions and feelings aren't the same. And thinking and emotions are not the same. And thinking is more important. the reason why this happened is because I felt defensive and I felt like my identity was being challenged. And I understand that this person is playing the role of kitchen manager and I'm playing the role of employee. And we have these dynamics and roles and expectations that are required in this environment and also in this community and globally. And I would come up with a whole bunch of different logical, rational reasons to defend why I felt uncomfortable. And I might not even say that I felt uncomfortable. I'd use more facts and more science and more psychology and more defense mechanisms and dismiss the emotions because the emotions aren't real or they're not valid or that they don't matter. That'd be intellectualization. I may pull from all these different famous people in different developmental fields, developmental psychology fields, or if I was into mathematics, talking about mathematics and stuff like that to explain why I'm right in this situation. That'd be intellectualizing the experience, which to the extreme is unhealthy. Spiritual bypass into the extreme is unhealthy. And so it's on a spectrum because depending on the situation, it may be healthy to do a little bit of spiritual bypassing or a little bit of intellectualization. It may be needed to be productive in a certain stressful situation. But it's very important to take the time when you're able to actually do what I was expressing about being aware of your body, how it felt, the thoughts, what you thought about, how you interpreted the situation. It's really important to do that process because that's how you integrate the experience, because it triggered something within you that could be previous trauma or previous stresses or something that you're bad at or something you think you're really good at, but you're not as good as you think you are. Something was triggered within you that you hold as your identity and it caused you stress. So there's a lot of things that you can learn from that. It's not an easy process, but it's a rewarding process once you practice it enough. It's tough, yes. It puts a lot of responsibility on you. And at the end of the day, or you can even say in every moment, the majority of the responsibility falls on you. Because more often than not, you're responsible for how you interact, how you behave, and the consequences that arise from it. Now, and I say most of the time, because there is certain situations in life, depending on where a person is at, how much self-awareness they have, how much trauma they have, how many resources they're able to use, whether financial, emotional, relational, etc., that can influence how much responsibility a person has. And still, even though there's those factors, there's still consequences. That's why we have fines if you are caught speeding, or we have jails or prisons if somebody does something that hurts another person. And I agree that it's not as healthy or beneficial or supportive at times. And some of our systems in 2026 are dysfunctional. They are harming more than they're helping. So I'm not downplaying that. It's true. But that's what we have. That's what we're dealing with. That's just where we're at in 2026. Not good or bad, just where we're at. It could be better. In 100 years, we might look at how things are handled now and think it's barbaric. Of course, we probably won't be alive by then because we only have so much time on this earth. But yes. And so this is the video on how to use mindfulness to handle disagreements, and sharing my story and giving advice. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and the like button to be aware of more content that I put out, because my channel isn't about just surface stuff. I like to take the things that you hear all the time and look at the deeper layers of it on an emotional, somatic, and cognitive levels of what it is to be a human being, and even some spiritual levels too. Because in this channel, it's all about integrating all that stuff. And I use a lot of my personal experiences and how I do this stuff too, to let you know that I'm doing it too. I'm not looking down on you, not looking up at you. I'm looking to you, because we're all in this together. Thank you for watching. Take care.